sure. All right. So, Tim, getting back from the White House, man. So, I've been putting that off for a long time. Tell me what that was like and tell us how you got there.
It was an amazing experience. Definitely an amazing experience from just finding out about it. The way I found out was I had a voicemail from the school, and I checked the voicemail and gave the girl a call back. I believe I had to leave her voicemail. So on the way home from work is when she gave me a call back saying, there's a possible chance you might be invited to the White House.
So that was the best game of phone tag you ever played?
Right, yes.
Yeah.
So it's like, there's a slight chance, you could go to the White House. Are you interested? And I'm like, of course I'm interested. Let's do this.
Yeah.
And that was the girl from school, the communications director. So initially what happened, I just finished the school at Associated Builders and Contractors, ABC there in Baton Rouge. And the school had wrote up a story about my journey. It's a earn while you learn program where, you can work full time and still get your education at night. So I just finished that, and they wrote up a story locally. It was published locally on their website and another website. So the school went to a meeting in July, a legislative week in Washington, D.C. The school there submitted it to the White House, my story, and what it was right at a 1-year mark that the president made a pledge to the American workers to have workers trained, retrained, upskilled, and they were submitting the story along with some more other stories to see if the White House would want to invite some of the students to that event.
So kind of like the 1-year mark celebratory thing for those who did succeed in that program.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So for those who benefited, and
are there statistics on that? Like how many people were enrolled? How many people came out of it like completing? Was it a completion process, or was it like a step process? Like you could just do step 1, you can go all the way to step 5, or was it as soon as you start doing this program, you have to go the whole way to finish it?
Right. I believe they were focusing on the ones who finished it, mm-hmm. and basically who were benefiting from it already.
Right. Okay.
And like there's I don't know if there's a statistic as far as the
how many people went in, how many people came out,
but they have like the number and a goal of the amount of people that they want to have trained, retrained, upskilled, and they've already surpassed the number that they were shooting for. So
is it mainly people in the South though?
It's all across the country. They did highlight my story and invited me, and I was one of lucky 5 workers from across the country that got to sit in the same semicircle with the president, vice president, and Ivanka Trump. We also got to meet with her beforehand.
Did she play a big part in all that? Like, was she kind of an orchestrator?
Yes. So she is the orchestrator. She's basically
she
the
might
one.
Get offended if I call her that. Like she's some kind of, like she put on a musical and it was a big success.
Exactly.
Sorry, Ivanka, if you're listening to this.
She might have to come straighten you out.
That's funny.
But yeah, it was people from all over the country, and so the 5 that were highlighted were from different parts of the country: Orlando, Louisiana, Michigan, I believe, Colorado, and I want to say Tennessee.
That's a lot of blue collar state though, right there.
Right.
I mean, except for Florida, we don't really know what Florida is. Florida's like some weird. It's not even really the South. I always say that's some odd thing. So you got it's a luck thing, really.
Right. I mean, it's a huge blessing. I would say it's a blessing from God, and then just God put me in the right place at the right time. Mm-hmm. I'm like, thank you.
So that kind of stroke of like blessings led you to go to the White House. Now I'm sure you get bombarded with like a bunch of questions and stuff. I mean, my thing is that building, like the significance of just the building. I'm not talking about who's in it, who's out of it, who's been there before, who's going to be in there next. That building itself has so much in it. I think even, we don't fully understand our brains, right? But
Right.
if you even go back in time, imagine trying to retain all the history in there. It would
Right.
take a lifetime, I would just presume, to study all the history in there, because they have gifts from other countries in there, and they have like paintings that are worth, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. Then you have the significance that like where you walked at, where Tim strolled,
Exactly.
JFK was walking down those hallways, and Lincoln, and just not to throw out all the Woodruff, not to throw out an unpopular president.
A lot of rich history there. Right.
Yeah, well, and actually rich history too. It's interesting to just be in the building though. Like,
Definitely.
my thing is not so much who you met. It's like you were inside. Like, tell me tell her about like what rooms you went in.
I got to go in the executive office.
Wow.
We actually strolled around the hallways, different floors, and got to sit and chat with some of the, the employees at the White House.
When you say employees,
don't know their proper position.
That's what I have to ask.
Titles.
Like, they could be anything.
They were basically involved in coordinating the meeting. So it was.
You ever watch Designated Survivor on Netflix?
I did actually just see some of the episode the other night.
It's really good.
It is pretty cool.
It's very good. But their layout of the White House is phenomenal. Like, that's what I was trying to tell my wife she was like, who are you going to do podcasts with? I was like, Tim. He was at our wedding. He was there. He's like, well, what was he doing? I was like, well, he was in where I said, you know where, I always forget the actor's name who's in that. I call him the 24 guy.
Right, exactly.
He probably doesn't like that. He's a really good actor. Anyway, I was like,
that's the only way I'd refer him.
Me too.
24 guy.
I was like, he was there, like, like where he walked, like what you see on TV. That's where my buddy
exactly.
went.
Well, when my mother-in-law was watching the show the other day, and it was I think by the Rose Garden, and I'm like, I was right there. I walked that little
but
sidewalk.
What's crazy is I hit the table. What's crazy is that all that's a prop.
I was actually there.
Were actually there. Exactly.
It was.
What was
intense.
something that like kind of you were like, whoa? Did you have like one of those wow moments?
Well, getting through the security there at the White House, there's like security right the main gate you get through, and then there's another security.
So I've been in the front. I've been in the front with the iron gate.
Right.
Where they let you stand, where the grass is literally dead from so many people standing there taking pictures. And then the yard was so long. But see, they were doing landscaping when I went there. And then they had like this huge alarm go off. Oh. Like, vacate the field. And it was the field where like the Benjamin Franklin Memorial Monument and Lincoln Memorial, that field, like, please evacuate. Not evacuate, but vacate. And then these bike cops, men in black suits come out. Just everyone leaves, right? So then we walk. Am I facing it? I guess the east. So we walked east across the sidewalk where some of those businesses are, like some of the bank rooms and stuff. So me and my other brother-in-law are standing there, and then these huge Tahoes come out of nowhere.
Nice.
Literally, it's like if something opened up in the road and they came out of the underground. Like, I didn't even see them coming. Just poof, there they are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like at least 10 or 12. Roll in. Cops were getting people off the sidewalk. So you have like that field, and then you have the sidewalk right next to it. You can walk up and down. No one in the street, no one by their parked cars. Across the street, and then boom, it's like a caravan. And then after that, and then ARs and AKs pop up. Not AKs, but ARs pop up everywhere. Guys walking around, ready to go. And then once the cars were finished, it was done. So I don't know. Maybe your boy met the president too, just don't know it. But I don't think it was. It was at a point where he was talking about actually going to meet with Kim Jong-un at the point. I was like really crazy, and it wasn't him. Obviously, I guess we don't really know what's going on. But that's my story. Yours is way better.
Well, I experienced like the gun and cops pulling up in the street. That was kind of the same. Not as.
How did you go in there? Were you like on a bus?
We just walked. We Ubered.
Hey, my name should be on the list. Like, right. Let me in. Exactly. It's Tim Grow. You mean Gross? Oh yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so we Ubered like right by the corner. We walked in and through the security, but beforehand, walking and seeing the Secret Service agents around the monuments in the yard there, and then seeing a Secret Service poke out the building, like, and then poke back in the doorway. I was like, wow, that's pretty cool.
How many you think were there out there? How many Secret Servicemen?
Like that was just a handful that you could see just out and obvious.
See, that's what trips me up, man.
The
You don't really
obvious
know
ones
how
you see, right? You see obviously a good handful, like a dozen or so, and that's just in the local area that you're at.
Right.
So it's, I'm sure, like.
Well,
everywhere.
they sit on the rooftops. They got rooftop
I did
guys.
see some of those.
Well, they even have rooftops like away, like blocks away.
Right.
People just, I mean, that's what they say. But like you said, it's kind of crazy. Like that's the ones you've seen. That's the ones that you were
Right.
able to put your eyes on. Was it hard to comprehend deal with the nervousness of being in the building, or was it more of a kid in a candy store thing?
It was more like a kid in a candy store kind of thing. Definitely the nervousness was there when we got to meet Ivanka before the meeting. Like when she walked in, I was like, cool, that's Ivanka. And like, I could have talked, I definitely had a moment to talk with her, but I just kind of really didn't. So that's a regret I have, but it's.
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, she probably would have heard like 3 things you said and forgot all of it.
So, I got some pictures with her, so that was cool. But then when the meeting was there, some nervousness of, sharing my story and.
Right.
But.
Well, how did you talk? Was it like a televised thing? Or was it like a television thing? Or was it more like everyone's in the room, sit down, talk, tell us your story?
Right. Well, it was, the president opened up and and Ivanka, I believe, spoke. And then it was the girl from Toyota. But we all, we were all going to get to share stories. I didn't get to share the story, but it was, to where everybody was going to share their story. And it was actually live. It was on YouTube. And so it was televised on that level as far as YouTube live. And then you had, reporters there taking pictures. And so it was a pretty cool, atmosphere being in the state dining room.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a pretty decent sized room, but with 150 people in the room, it fills up quick, and it's pretty right. So they did it to be more personable on a one-on-one level, being in a room like that where.
Well, you're such a soft-spoken guy. How did you get your words out there? You had to, I'm assuming, what they say about that, but I'm assuming that Trump can probably be here for 3 city blocks. And he's so loud.
Right. Yeah. No, that was a concern of mine to know what to say and for it to come out right.
Yeah.
But,
put that Cajun voice on broadcast.
Right. And then see if people can understand my.
Do we have a translator for this guy?
My accent. But they had to call it short right before they got to me, so that was.
He might have to go push that nuke button. You never know.
Exactly. But I did get to. I was grateful that I was there, and just the fact that I was available to speak. But I believe on a time constraint, they had to, to cut it short.
Yeah.
We kind of started late, but I had that morning. I actually had a Fox News Live interview. It was the Fox Business News.
You were a busy man.
So the day started off awesome, and so the night before, I'm mentally preparing for this Fox News Live interview. Already working with a PR girl, which is cool. And just I'm
to sit down and tell you
that.
How to speak and present
Right,
yourself, and don't cross your arms this way, cross them this way.
We did that over the phone, but she's definitely giving me pointers and tweaking, how I should say things.
Mm-hmm.
But so already working with a PR girl, lady, and on that, that was just so cool to say that I'm working with a PR person.
Well, it must have felt official.
Right.
Right.
That and so here I am mentally preparing the night before that I'll be on Fox News Live in the morning, and then I get a text, "Hey, they want to do 2 White House lawn interviews. Are you up for that?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's do it."
I got all the energy in the world now. I'm ready to go.
I said, "Let's line them up. Let's knock them out." And so
sick.
So went from went from knowing I had 2 Fox News live interviews to 2 additional White House lawn interviews. I said, hey, let's do whatever they want to do. Let's do it. And
Wow.
so the Fox News Live, the Fox Business was pretty awesome. Where, I'm sitting there, they put makeup on me.
We gotta get that glisten down,
right,
you know. They don't make you all sweaty. Was it hot up there when you went?
The weather was nice. They were actually they saying we got lucky and went at a great time because the previous week they were scorching. And
well, you probably wouldn't have sweat that much anyway. It's not very humid up there,
right? And being down here,
yeah, we're conditioned.
This is it's hotter down here.
Way worse.
Right.
You have to bring a change of clothes to do a lawn interview here.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. So you had technically four interviews,
yes.
And then you also went into that meeting?
Right.
Well, that was just the only meeting you did?
Right. That was the meeting, the only meeting.
After that, it all simmered down?
Right. So at that point, I had did the Fox News Live business in the morning. And I already did the 2 White House lawn interviews. And so after that, we got to chill out, go eat a nice meal at a steakhouse.
My man.
And just...
you know about that steak life.
Right.
Love it.
What
restaurant was it?
I don't remember the name, but lobster appetizer, shrimp.
It's a fancy restaurant when lobster is on the appetizer list, where things are only like $7. They probably put a zero behind most of their appetizers.
Right.
They got all that money, dude. They got all that money there.
Exactly.
That's where all our money goes. All of our tax paid dollars all go to people's nice meals.
We spent it well. We enjoyed that tax money for those few days.
That's awesome. So you tell me what rooms you visited.
So I got to go in the executive office,
Mm-hmm.
and there's just the architecture, the landscape, throughout Washington D.C., but definitely there in the executive office. Like there's a picture I took of the staircase, the spiraling staircase. It's a pretty cool pic.
Yeah.
The hallways, the different rooms, just the tile work, everything. It's like we
the
said earlier,
maintenance,
kind of a kid in a candy store, kind of.
Yeah, but the maintenance there, so they keep all the to preserve all that history though.
Right.
And don't screw it up. Don't put Windex on this painting of Lincoln. You'll ruin it. All these crazy. The preservation of history really intrigues me. It's not like you get a piece of meat at the grocery store and slap in your freezer and it's preserved. It's you're trying to preserve stuff that's going on 200 years old now. Over 200 years old in some stuff. Getting close to 3, and then not counting the gifts that people give. I know I have some vases and fixtures from gifts from other people that are possibly hundreds, of, maybe even thousands of years old.
Right.
That kind of stuff just intrigues me to no end. The history in that building, where you walked, what rooms you got to see.
Yeah, like you said earlier, the presidents, all the other people that
walked there, man.
The same.
It's crazy to think. So, how many people ask you what Trump's like? I mean, I'm sure is that what everybody wants to talk to you about? Is him?
Much. They're like, "What?"
See, because
how big were his hands? What did he smell like? We've gotten some very interesting questions.
Oh,
what did
wow.
he smell like?
How many Diet Cokes does he really drink?
Is his face really orange?
Yeah. Is it really orange?
It's
orange tinted.
Orange reddish tinted.
Well, so that actually interests me the least, to be honest with you, because where you were is way more intriguing than who's there now and who's going to, like I said, who's going to be there in the future.
Right.
Because his history is going to stay there.
Right.
So it's cool to meet. It's awesome to meet a president. But just the idea that you are there in that building. I mean, that's the heart and soul of our country. That's where all the decisions are made. All of them. Unless it's on a state level. All your federal. Sometimes it's BS. Sometimes it's good stuff. But it all gets taken care of there.
Right. No, it was an honor to be there. It was just definitely humbling that I was chosen, invited to be there. Just like you said, the history and just the. Do
you think that's like your lottery for your life? That's your lottery win? That one moment everyone feels like they won the lottery?
It's definitely one of them. I mean, it's making an impact already,
Yeah.
through just
So really big potential stuff can come out of that.
right.
And then also all the training you got,
Exactly.
you know?
It's the training's gonna benefit, and then also I'm gonna this is probably gonna be a benefit. Just the
I
cool
mean,
factor.
there's no way but up from there.
Right.
I mean, imagine, the story of Chris Pratt. I don't know if you know the story of Chris
Right.
Pratt, but like, he was waiting tables, and he just so happened to be with a producer or director. I forgot who it was, but he's like, hey, you got something, and he did like one thing, and then just kept doing it, and
Right.
then from that one thing, it just shot through the roof.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Lord put me in the right place at the right time, and it was a big blessing.
That's incredible, man. So, would you ever consider moving? Like, if you had the opportunity to be something more, are you the kind of guy that wants to stay put, or
I mean,
do you feel like you owe Louisiana anything
don't-
from all this happening?
not necessarily. I do love Louisiana. I love where I'm from, where I grew up. Something at any time I would move back to where I grew up, but at the same time, if I had a
Where are you from?
Patterson,
Oh.
if I had an
I'm
opportunity,
gonna nod my head and act like I know where that is.
if I had an opportunity to move away and do something awesome, I would definitely do it.
Yeah.
Because just to, if it's there and if it's the right thing to do, I'll definitely go for it.
Yeah, something else you got too that a lot of people are lucky to have is definitely someone behind you too. Your
Right.
your wife.
Right,
Your
definitely.
wife's definitely behind you with this.
Yeah, she's-
I could see it in her eyes, like how excited she is just to see you doing all this awesome
Right.
stuff.
Yeah, she was happy. So when I got home, she's like, "So what's this Washington D.C. trip talk about? Going to the White House? What is that? How is that even possible? What's
Wow.
going on?"
Yeah.
And just explained to her, that through the story they wrote, they submitted it, and they decided to highlight me. And for a while there, she, I guess, didn't realize that I was going to be sitting in the same seating area.
Did
as the
she
president.
think you were just going there and you weren't really going to be doing anything? They just were sending you out there? Is that kind of what she thought?
Initially, I believe she thought that I was just going to be one of the 150 that were
See,
invited.
because that's kind of like what I got out of it. When I was on my Facebook and I saw it, I'm like, oh, cool, Tim's went to Washington.
Right.
And then I keep scrolling. I'm like, is that Ivanka? What's that
Right.
like? What is that? Yeah. And then next thing you know, you're like, all this
Right.
stuff starts coming up.
Right. So the meeting had 150 people, and
Who were those people?
there were students from across the country,
Okay.
other students who benefited, and so they were in the audience. It was in one of those was a lady that went through the program here in the same chapter, ABC Pelican chapter in Baton Rouge. So she was one of the 150, and then another ABC student from Kansas City. So there was students from different schools, as well as our school, but
Mhm.
from all across the country. So yeah, Amanda thought that I was going to be, probably one of those 150. But then she realized, what? You're going to be one of the 10 sitting with the president? She's like, that's so cool. That's amazing. And yeah, she was super excited for me. And so I got to take her with me, and so the day we flew out, it was actually our anniversary, our 9th anniversary. So it
Whoa.
was cool because we, get to taking a trip on our anniversary and to Washington D.C.
That's awesome.
And we also took our little boy. So
Yeah.
a little family outing, patriotic White
family.
House.
Yeah.
Go
I
all
felt
out.
when I went out there, I cry to the national anthem sometimes, man. Like,
Yeah.
I really get into it. And not really the political side, but just like, and that is a huge misconception. So many people politicize everything to do with our capital. Same thing they did with our flag.
Right.
It's like, it's about the government. No. None of the capital has the government in it.
Right.
But the reason that all of that exists is because of us. And do we need it to that level of extent? I don't think so. I think a smaller government's better, but it's the history that's there.
Right.
It's the decisions that have to be made that you and I can't make. Do you know how to solve foreign relations and health reforms and stuff. I don't know, but so we need something. But I've always been more intrigued with the idea that it's not a symbol of a government, symbol of a people. Same thing with the flag. Same thing with whoever's running it. You know, Democrat, Republican, whatever. And my stance on that is just get rid of all the labels and just see everybody for who they really are.
Right.
And that's really what I'd like to see, but that's never going to happen.
Right.
We're so black and white here, red and blue. It's unreal.
Right.
It's and to add to that, you notice how in and out stuff is. Like the flag represented, our American flag represented the government and hate, and then it goes away. And then it's guns again, then it goes away. Then it's race again, then it goes away. And meanwhile, while we're so distracted by what that is, all this other stuff is going on that we take our eyes off of. And that's why I always like to go back and be like, wait. Just, like the news and stuff like that. Just wait. Look at the big picture. Look at really what's going on. I think what I would like to see, if I ever had the chance, did you ever get to say anything to him or no?
No, I wish I would have, but
man,
get to shake his hand.
I would love just to be like, hey man, look, you have a lot of energy, and we really appreciate what you're doing, all the good stuff that you've done. But could you stop calling people names? I can't get over that. He's one of the only presidents to sit in the seat and actually I think Reagan did. Reagan was a fireball too, though. Reagan was crazy, but I need to say the least, he's very entertaining. Did he when you were there with him? Is he stereotypical? Is he like how everybody says he is? Because coming from the horse's mouth, I only see what he says. You know what I mean? I don't listen to CNN or Fox and see what they say about him.
Right.
I try to watch his, because I follow him on Facebook, so that's the only Trump I get. I don't get Trump from news networks.
Right. I mean, from before he got elected till now, and to see his work and his, I'd say he's a man of his word, and he tries to,
and you're definitely a case of that, though.
To where he's going to speak his mind, but also, he's working to keep his word. He said he made before he got elected that he wanted to do certain things, and it looks like to me that he's trying to keep his word. And
you think he's definitely got a well-oiled team too behind him? A lot of good team members.
Right. I'd say so. And with that, that's, I believe, how he's getting it done, with anything,
So kind of like the reason he might be the way he is as a voice of control is to kind of help. Because at the end of the day, he's really just kind of like a decision maker and a signature. He's not so much more of and when people call him a dictator, it cracks me up. But it's all the people behind him, though. Hundreds of people work there.
Oh, definitely.
And they're truly a lot of the worker bees, really. He's kind of the queen, not to be weird, but he's like the queen bee. He just, he does a little bit, but everybody else behind him is really the people really putting in some work.
Right. There was, thinking about it now, there were a couple of individuals from Louisiana that I got to meet. They work at the White House and the worker bees. And,
so some representatives and stuff like that?
Well, they had the rep that Amanda.
Did you get to stick it to FEMA while you were there or no?
Yeah. they're gonna write some reimbursement checks.
Exactly.
But just the fact that a good support team and a team just in, a team period to get the job done. And it's, but that's what we want, right?
Exactly.
We want a president
that's
why get the job done.
But that's why it exists, right?
And
that's why our whole government.
For the benefit of America, that's what he's doing it for. He's doing it for the benefit of America. And
you had 150 people there.
Yes.
So that's 150 people guaranteed that benefited.
Oh, exactly.
Well, it's probably,
and it's just like the schooling that that I've worked for. It's a matter of you get. You put in the hard work, you're going to get something out of it. It's
right.
The same thing. You're still going to have to work at getting the results you need. Keep your goal in focus.
So could this be the replacement for free college, you think? Could this be something to that nature where, because, Bernie Sanders is, he's guided more towards free healthcare, free college to try to help America that couldn't afford it to better themselves.
Right.
In Trump's case, the algorithm that he has is, like you said, an open shop type of thing where you get paid to work, but it's more of it's not really an apprenticeship though, like you
Right,
said.
right,
It's more
right.
like an open shop. You're learning and then applying. It's not just
Right.
like you're just applying where you work for free for.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
No, but it's definitely an attainable program for people that, you know, like our specific program that we had at ABC was, you know, you have a contractor sponsor you, and if you work for the contractor, they'll take
Mhm.
the tuition out your check, but overall you'll get reimbursed at the end, and
So
it's inexpensive, but it's an
is it
attainable.
inexpensive, or is it at the end of it it's free?
At the end of it, it's free. It's free. You get reimbursed, so it's zero cost.
So what are people complaining
essentially.
about? How come people don't know
So for
about this?
I'd say most people know about it. If they're in the field, they know about it here locally. But as far as
There's not a lot of marketing.
The other programs maybe across the country,
Mhm.
there's different programs. It's just a matter of maybe initiative to find the initiative to get to a program that that can be maybe sponsored in a sense, and if maybe in a event where it could be free education, maybe not so much on the big scale of like a 4-year college, but maybe a small community college where but with stipulations. That's actually what our friend me and Emily we were talking about that, like how maybe stipulations to where you have to finish, and then just if you're having a hard time, and to get back on your feet, sort of thing, where a program in that sense for community college or technical school, whatever you want to call it, where
It takes a lot of work though, right?
Right. I mean,
a lot of people don't know that.
There'd be a lot of organization to get that going, but as far as if that would be even possible, but have it stipulated where just not everybody would abuse it, but
Right.
it's just.
But at the end of the day, the case, the good outweighs the bad. Most cases, employers get well-trained, loyal, employees that maybe they wouldn't have got if they just went to a college, and then while they're working that job, they're always looking for another one that's paying more.
Right, and you get the specific training.
Is it a non-contract thing?
Yeah, it was non-contract. Like, actually, my sponsor originally, I didn't even work for him for this school. Like, it was Excel Contractors in Baton Rouge, and Chad there at Excel had a meeting with me, and he decided to sponsor me. So thanks a lot, Chad. I appreciate it.
Shout out to Chad.
I give props to Chad. That I mean, he just agreed that he would sponsor me, fully. And so he got the ball rolling for me on that, and so like that, it's not like no contractual, like for me, where it started, didn't even work for the contractor. I didn't work for a contractor at all. I was still in the manufacturing shop in Mandeville, and then halfway through.
Is it the same company?
No, it's so halfway through the course, I switched from the manufacturing shop and went to the plants. So I went from MECO. Halfway through school, I switched and started at Triad Electric and Controls, and I worked there basically last summer. And so at the fall semester, I
when did you complete? When did you start, and when did you complete it?
So I started January 2017, and just finished in May 2019.
Really?
So
it's not long. It's a
right, and
fairly.
It goes by quick.
What does this do though?
Summer.
Like, but what else can people do with this program? Who else offers this program? Where can people find it at? Like, that's my thing. I felt like it was ghosted. Like, I didn't see it even like going on. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, it's a contractor based school where for the construction industry, but it's you have a chapter here, there in Baton Rouge. There's a chapter also right out of New Orleans in St. Rose. So you have the Pelican chapter, Baton Rouge, the Bayou chapter in the New Orleans area. You also have another Pelican chapter in the Lake Charles area.
Is this only focused towards like manufacturing jobs?
It's focused for like the plant refinery, like for electricians, instrument technicians.
All right, let me ask you something controversial then. Do you think that the reason that people were offered this program is because it's such high-paying tax dollars that they get out of it afterwards from the money being made in the plants? You think that's how they could how maybe let's say that Trump's not necessarily scheme, but his plan was if we offer people more and free to do these bigger things and make more money and the manufacturers make more money, at the end of it, we get more taxes.
No, I would say they really...
Not that that's a question that's answerable. I'm just saying.
Right. I mean, honestly, I would say they're doing it for the benefit of the actual American worker, to actually put back into the workforce, put back into the companies. That way it's American workers benefiting like we are, like I am.
You think it's kind of a backtrack thing too, because back in the 50s and 60s, manufacturing jobs were like everyone had one basically. If you worked at a Ford plant or you worked at a sewing machine plant or whatever, there were so many people working in those type of environments. Did they talk about automation or AI?
No, I didn't. We didn't. That didn't come up.
Do you think that's an issue? You think that'd be? Because I do. I'm one of those believers.
About
artificial intelligence will take the jobs of a lot of people, because we're able to program that kind of stuff. You're talking about artificial intelligence that can take. First off, I say maybe all the cars except one. I know a Morgan car that's hand built is hand painted too, but almost every car manufacturer has automated painters. But painters still exist because of collisions. So it's not really like they're taking anyone's jobs, but at one point they did.
Right.
So it's possible, in my opinion, for automation and AI to take over not all jobs, but a lot.
Well, it will. And like specifically in the plants, I believe it is and already has gotten more automated as far as on the instrument side. And just
what do you think the percentage is from then till now?
I mean, I would have to just guess, but it's definitely a big percentage.
But it also could mean better safety, though, too, because human error.
Exactly. For that I would say it's definitely a better safety feature.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, I
kind of take the human error out.
Take the human error out of it. But then again, topsy-turvy. I wouldn't let a self-driving car drive me. There's no way.
Right. But on the instrument control side, the technology there, it's even technology that's been around for years is reliable to where it's tried and true.
Where's your plant make? Or do y'all produce?
It's chemicals, different alpha olefins and ethylene oxide, I believe. Trying to remember all the different
ethylene.
I'm trying to remember all the different chemicals.
But that's not your field anyway. Right. You just kind of
contractor, some behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Just
watching everything, make sure everything's going good.
Everything work as far as getting it all together.
What's the most critical thing you could tell somebody wanting to work in the plants? Because I know a lot of people that have in the past. Matter of fact, my guy right here, Cy, working everything in the background. He's worked there, and his dad's worked there before, and many of our friends. Why do you think people are driven to plants? And I know the reason why.
Right.
And then, do you recommend it, and what's? Tell me about it. Tell me what drives people to do that, to go there, work those hours.
Right. Obviously, the money will be there. Maybe not in your green entry level positions, but the money can be there. But with that money comes hazards. So definitely have to keep your head on a swivel and be safety conscious and just
because there's a lot of people out there that don't understand how they
keep an eye
work.
Out for yourself.
Cy was there when Geismar blew up. Who was it that blew up? Williams.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So like I get the hazard, and I get hazard pay. Hazard pay makes a lot of sense.
Right.
You wouldn't catch my little white butt over there. I'm telling you right now.
No, exactly.
No way.
You definitely want to get compensated for the hazards. But yeah, definitely the hazards, and also getting paid. Like, right. Keep your eye out for the hazards. You want to get compensated while you're exposed to those hazards. For the most part, you will. So I'd say that's what drives people, because it's
The risk outweighs. I mean, the award outweighs the risk.
right, and it's there's a lot of like safety features like in the equipment, and then also as far as your mindset. So as
My
long
dad
as
has
you-
a saying. He always said, "Monkeys can work at plants," and I think what he meant were like people who just are like nothing else. They don't have a drive to better themselves, but they just know, let's go to the plants. They said a lot of his friends growing up too were always, because he's from the West Bank.
Right.
So he's like, people are always thrown to the plants, thrown to the plants, thrown to the plants. But I only know maybe a handful of people that stay in it.
Right. It's
You think it's more temporary thing for some people? Like, unlike you, who've
Well-
had all this great stuff happen to you, obviously you want to make a career out of it because you want to go up. But some
Right.
people just want to go in and stay.
right. Some people might get comfortable, and then when you get comfortable, you lose track of your goals. So that's why I tell people.
Yeah, that's a good point. Really good point.
I've told Emily that. I tell everybody I go to school with. Nobody's gonna keep track of your own goals. You have to keep track of your goals for yourself, and just don't get comfortable, don't get complacent, and that way you're not staying stagnant. You're not gonna get stagnant. You're not gonna stay stagnant, and just keep moving. That way, always bettering yourself.
Right.
Not that you can't be satisfied, or but just there's nothing wrong with advancing and always bettering yourself.
What drives you to do that though? Like, what's your?
Uh,
Because I'm self-employed, so like my drive is if I don't go to work, I don't get paid.
Right.
If I don't go out there and hustle, I don't get any money.
Right, exactly. Well, and like for me, like starting, like, cause I was at that shop for 7 years, so basically I had to start over. I left 3 weeks vacation pay, so like right now, if I don't work, I don't get paid. So the going to work is motivation to get paid, but also the fact that I want the school to pay off, and it already is, but to where make the most out of it, make the most out of the experience I have, the most out of the schooling I have, and just to keep going as far as it can take me. And that's my drive. And that's what I encourage people, for that to be their drive too.
Yeah.
Just find whatever you want, make it your goal, keep it your goal, and just don't forget about it. Put it in sight, keep it in sight, and just continue till you get there.
Sometimes I think goals are like time. It's kind of like, goals are time. They kind of become irrelevant after a while, because really the idea is just to keep bettering yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
And like, kind of a thought is like almost a relay race with yourself, where there might be different points in, if you want to call it a race, where you might hit the first lap, but that first lap might be the first position you move to, the first better position. Then second lap might be another better position, but just keep going till it takes you where you want it to go. And if it might take you further than what you think. Just like right now, it's just kind of taking me.
But how many years did it take?
As far as me, like, I've been in the instrumentation for, like, this is right at 8 years. So I learned a lot, and learned a lot there at Miko in Mandeville. And and even while I was there, it's kind of, I wanted to move up and have it pay off more than what I thought it would. But, it does take time. Reaching your goal does take time. But at the same time, like, wherever you're at, and where I was at was, it's, I was still doing the same thing somewhat, but also constantly still learning new stuff, because there's always new instruments. There's always something you can learn.
I say this in almost every podcast. You never stop learning.
And no, it's true. You won't stop learning. And if you do, that's your fault. And that's
correct.
That's not good. So that's right.
Do you think that's why motivational speakers are more popular than they've ever been? First off, we're all impatient, you know.
Right.
How old are you?
35.
So I'm 26. We have almost 10-year gap here.
Yeah.
But I feel like somewhere behind me, we're technically two different generations. So like the generation behind me and some of people who are at my age, mine and Sai's age, is instant gratification still exists. But the problem is the motivation. Like a lot of people don't have very supportive parents like I had. And my parents were, you know, they said, well, you know, if you think it'll better you, do it. Or, you know, they weren't very pushy. That's to be honest with you. They weren't very pushy. Right. They were fairly complacent, but they always knew that the best thing to do is not stop.
Right.
You know, but in my opinion, most people aren't even being raised and motivated by, you know, like by mentors anymore. No one has mentors anymore. People don't look up to people unless they're famous, rich, or, you know, happen to have like some major accomplishment or something, you know. Like, you know, you have people who start off in life really low, then get really high. And a lot of that has nothing to do with someone else.
Right.
Almost nothing. I think it's funny when Trump, though, and he said, I got a small loan of $1 million, you know, but in fact, that did become a small loan because he became a billionaire off of it. So truth be told, work ethic only comes out of yourself. Right. But motivators intrigue me, though, because there's some motivators out there where you're just like, wow, they can talk so good. But then you look at their accomplishment list and it's like this big, but their words are like this big.
Right.
You know?
But in a sense, if they motivate people, so their accomplishment might not really be
very good point.
Recognized or
that's a great
recorded,
point.
Really. Cause
yeah.
They might not really get credit for their accomplishments because their accomplishments are tied maybe to other people's accomplishments.
Yeah.
Know?
That's very true. That's very true.
Where, you know, it's kind of
foot in my mouth.
No. I'm thinking about it as we're talking.
But you're right, though. You know,
to where,
yeah,
you know, they're doing it for the right reason. To where they, you know, it's kind of a thankless job where, you know, they might motivate, encourage someone to take their next step and to keep on going.
Well, you were kind of motivated with getting the schooling that you
right.
you know, wanted, and whoever started that, you know, motivated you.
Right. And I didn't want to, you know, my main thing was like I didn't want to get stagnant and stay stagnant. So I just want to keep moving, stay fresh, and just.
That's why I started this podcast.
Right.
You know, and it gets to the point where like you just feel like you need to be doing more because I'm not a free time guy. I mean, since I got married, I've been enjoying my free time more often than like I used to. But like whenever I used to work at that paint store, you know, I was always doing something. I would work there, and you used to see me all the time. I remember that. I could almost hear you pull up and know it was you. And then all I had to do is see the. At one point, you had a pewter Firebird, right?
Or the truck. Maybe it was the pewter truck.
Might have been the pewter truck.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Black or maroon. I forget what color yours was.
The dark blue.
Dark blue. I was wrong 3 times. So that, yeah, but after I would do that, I would go and moonlight and paint on the side. I mean, Si knows he was there. I'd work sometimes 2 o'clock in the morning, wake back up and do it all over again. And now that I'm married and self-employed, you get so occupied just trying to always do something more. And so I started doing this, but I actually really like doing this. And this is a lot of fun. And it's interesting to see other people's points of view too. So like your journey to get there, your journey afterwards, but see, you have a kid, right? So what kind of journey is that going to be for you to translate to him? Like, how are you going to get that across to him? Because he's growing up in a weird time.
Right.
He's growing up in a time of like, you know, you want to make a lot of money, develop an app. You know, you want to be successful, do something on social media. TV is almost cable TV is almost obsolete.
Exactly.
You know, streaming services and all that.
I was thinking that I was reading an article about, you know, stuff that's probably going to go obsolete with all the technology. And I'm like cable's probably about to be obsolete.
Cable's about to be obsolete, man.
Right.
And I called this a long time ago. Radio too. I'm telling you.
Right. It's especially with see all the commercials. If instant gratification. Commercials drain the gratification.
You know what, though? We pay for instant gratification with some stuff. You know, like
Right.
my Spotify account is like $13 a month just so I don't have to hear any commercials.
Right.
Well, I mean, it's kind of worth the progression is worth it. A lot of people have jobs, though, connected to the media industry. But it's the same thing with Toys R Us, why they failed. They didn't adapt.
Right. No, you definitely have to adapt.
Yeah.
And
Well, how do you think your son can adapt? Do you think he's going to follow in your footsteps? And two, what are your predictions for him when he gets older? Not to live your life through him, but like, you know your life growing up. You know where you are now. You
Right.
know the difference in the contrast.
right.
Cell phones, even Wi-Fi, you know, and the quality of stuff and the expenses of stuff. What about him? Him now versus him later.
Right. So, like, as far as the accomplishments I've had already, that I could translate that to him to, like, take that confidence and just, you know, learn from it and apply it with his goals and, you know, to accomplish his goals and, you know, in whatever it would be. But, like, you know, you can already kind of see, like, right here in the first year and a half of his life, because he's a year and a half, that, you know, as he's getting older, you know, you see him picking up on things. So I'll just encourage him to keep picking up on things, learn it, and, you know, find out what you want to do it, and don't lose sight of it, and
Don't get a girlfriend either for a long time.
be wise in life.
Yeah.
You know, don't do things that will, you know, distract you, slow you down, or, you know, everything will come in its own time. Like this, for me, it's coming in its own time. But to, you know, just to stay at it, you know, and work for it.
So if you're saying he needs to follow, like, you know, work hard, figure out what he wants to do, and go after it. What is it you want to do though? Like you're here now,
Right.
but there's, like we said before, the goals don't really exist. It's just like self, you know, improvement. What
Right.
else is for you after this? Where would you like to be at? Let me say that. I know where I want to be. I want to be South Florida, collecting a paycheck
Right.
because I did something really successful, but, you know, cars, motorcycles, the whole thing. And then keep doing this is a lot of fun. Keep doing this.
Right.
That's a very dumbed down way of me saying what I really want to do, but where is it you want to be at?
I mean, I definitely want to, you know, be retired at a decent age, and, you know.
Do you think retirement is the end though? You know,
No,
how you're retired
more
guys.
of a slow down time.
Slow down
Like,
time. I like
not
that.
a
Yeah.
not a
Not a
to me-
quit. I know quit.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
just
I don't think it's good to just stop. I think
yeah.
you keep moving,
Mhm.
but at least the goal is to be successful enough to be able to retire, so to speak. At least slow down from your main work. Maybe continue work in a different, lighter sense. And
Do you have a drive to like be your own business owner or your own boss or?
I definitely have. It's always been, excuse me, you know, in my sights. So,
Would it be
I would
outside of the plants?
oh, no doubt. I mean,
Yeah.
probably so. I mean, the plant, you know, somewhat of a business idea, but I'm a car guy. I love cars, so that's always been my like go-to business. Be like some kind of tuner shop, or, you know.
Yeah, wait till you have money because you're not gonna make any money doing that.
Right. It'd be more for the enjoyment.
And I
of
put
the,
my foot in my mouth. There's a lot of people out like Ken Diggett and you know, Jesse James and
right.
people like that make plenty of money doing that. But
to be involved or somewhat in the car community,
I'm with you on that, man.
that'd be the goal.
We would need to move somewhere else to make money, though. Let's go to Miami, open up a shop, and just work on like LS swapping supercars just to make people mad.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Hey.
those goals. I like hearing those goals, but at the end of the day, if you're under 40, you're still pretty young.
Yeah.
You got plenty of time to do what you want to do.
Right. I mean, that's where I was at when I did the school. I was like, man, you know, I got some good experience being at that shop for right at 6 years or whatever it was. And, just wanted to get the schooling, under my belt to where I could take the experience and the schooling and make the most out of this. But, I had a thought a while ago when we were talking about, who knows about the school and, what the school, like what industry it serves. It serves the industry for the, chemical plants, the refineries, but also on a, commercial level. Because, like, for people out there, that, want to be, electrician, you don't have to go to the plants. You can go in the commercial level. You can go to the residential area level. So as far as electrical, and then, there's different trades you can pick up there at the school.
How can people find this information?
Like it's Associated Builders and Contractors, ABC. So they could just, look up the website
and that's the website will have like maybe like an application type of thing where it kind of shows you like maybe who you can reach out to in your area,
right?
You can do.
Exactly. Like you could reach out to the school, call them, and then as far as getting sponsored, they'll direct you. And that's exactly what I had done was I called the school. They directed me to Excel. I got in contact with Chad, and he decided to sponsor me, made the decision to sponsor me. And that's basically what's someone out there that's wanting to go, like I said, whether it's electrical instrumentation, management, some kind of construction management, or planning. There's those types of courses there. So there's different courses you can take other than stuff that's specifically for the plant. And it's not necessarily, even if it's for the plant, it's not necessarily going to be field work for the plant. You can, like I said, management or planning. So
Associated Builders and Contractors, Inc. Right. And you got a little trophy here.
Exactly. So that
number 1.
Yeah, first place. That was another great experience. We had a local competition there in Baton Rouge, instrument fitting. And so we had the instrument fitting, hands-on bending tubing, tubing up a pressure transmitter, tubing up a...
How much attention does all this take when you're in the plants? Like it is obviously danger is a big factor,
right,
but also like attentiveness wise, like how much attention does it actually take to perform to the best of your ability?
You want to be attentive, like even in the instrument fitting, you want to, make sure that you're bending it
right,
and you have the right length and where your tube is fully inserted into the
fitting. Geometry's involved.
That's there, but a lot of it for me, I can speak for myself, as well as some others, but like to where you just maybe not do the geometry so much, just kind of you use the angle finder or just.
So you have tools and stuff like that, and they'll teach you how to work with all the tools and everything.
Right, you get your you can get your bender and kind of just eyeball it as you're looking at what you want to bend. I'm like, this is the angle I want, or you just keep going to the angle you want.
Yeah, that's stuff you had to learn all that through the programs.
Actually, I had learned the tubing bending was one of the first steps in my journey as far as my career. So that was a blessing that I had learned in my first shop job. But
you been any tubing in front of Trump? You should have been like, let me show you what's going on here.
Like, I can show you hands-on.
Do you think it's important for politicians to like show FaceTime in places like that? Like, do you think it'd be beneficial for?
Well, Ivanka did. She did go visit there in Orlando with the gentleman that worked.
Of course, she went there.
Hotel industry,
right where their hotels are.
She went to the Toyota facility and also to the, I believe, Lockheed Martin facility.
Is Toyota? I think is still the most American-made vehicle.
I'm not sure.
I don't know if they are or not. I know that Ford almost got close to being bankrupt. They almost became something else. But I know that I've passed a couple of Toyota plants. There's one in Mississippi. There's also a Hyundai. I was passing by, and I was like, the first time I saw it, I was like, what? And then there's a Nissan, too. I know that there's that. Right. But they're more of assemblies here.
Right, which is, I mean, it's good. And that's the types of jobs that they
Right.
Focusing on putting back the.
So what do you think? What do you think their FaceTime meant to some of the people there? And how many people are really political? Like, how many people didn't want to I don't feel like seeing them. Was there anybody like that? Was all that kind of energy?
I didn't see the energy there for that. The fact that if they're going to go out to a facility, I can't help but think that a warm welcome wouldn't be there. I would have to say that the warm welcome would be there because, the spotlight's there on your facility at that point.
It's almost like being a military member and being like super communistic, and then seeing him, you're like, what you gonna do now, dude? Right. You are under oath. You better not disrespect him.
Right.
But my thing was, there's so many people with so many different opinions because they're all labelized. I didn't know if the energy might have been a little off, but at the long run, it's
I believe
only helping
that,
people.
Right, and it is really helping. I believe that that is their intent, that they really want to help people.
Yeah,
and
it's not so much the back end benefits, so much the front man benefits. You guys, the workers, the people. And I'm sure the companies benefit too, which in long run, the more money the company makes, the more people they can take on. And hopefully that's the case. I hope that's the case.
Right. Well, before I got to go to the meeting, we had a conference call with the White House. And I was like, wow, that's so cool. I got a conference call at the White House.
Was it like the spider-looking speakerphone thing in the middle of the table? You guys were talking?
We had our own little mics. It was cool. The little mic came to the table. But, even on that level, just the fact of, the whole picture, behind the scenes, the work before the meeting, the conference call, just the people involved and, the whole project of people getting trained. But it was amazing to be a part of it, but also, I'd say they really care, though, to be, for her to go to these different facilities, So, but we're going back to the conference call. One of the points I made was, for these workers that are getting trained, myself included, there's gaps. There's knowledge gaps. There's experience gaps.
There's tier level people there.
Right. So there's gaps. There's always going to be gaps that an employee has. And
right.
Programs like this, as well as on-the-job training, any training you get is going to benefit the worker as well as the company. And I think there's appreciation there for that on that level. The current training you get, the on-the-job training, as well as the training you get after the work day is done and you're going to night school and getting that books knowledge training. It's just on, so many levels for appreciation on so many levels,
Right.
I think it's going back to just that. I think people will appreciate more than maybe, just not appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, cool. Well, thanks for sharing your story. I think it's really interesting what you got to do, really where you went, and I guess who you met. No, I'm just kidding. But it's awesome to hear that. I hope that, and I'll post some of that too when I post this thing. I hope that the idea that this exists is more mainstream, because I'm telling you, even I try to be as caught up as possible without trying to be caught up, if that makes any sense.
Right.
But I hope this gets a little more mainstream, because the success you had, not where you went, who you met, but the success you've had and what tumbles after that is really what I'm more intrigued in. So I think that'll work out awesome for you.
It's just a matter of somebody looking up the school,
Whatever
school may be in their area.
And it's associated?
Yep.
Builders and Contractors Inc. All right, cool. Well, thanks for doing this podcast, man. I appreciate it.
Appreciate y'all.
Thanks, dude.
Thanks, man.